My college crush wrote us into a love scene. Then asked, "Would you kiss me for real?" The classroom was almost empty when Emma slid the script across the table toward me. "Read page 7, she said. I looked down at the printed pages. Our professor had assigned us a short romantic scene for the final theater project, and somehow Emma and I had ended up as partners. That alone had been enough to make my heart race. Emma had been my college crush since freshman year. She was smart, funny, effortlessly confident, and completely unaware of how many times I had practiced saying hello to her before actually doing it. I turned to page 7. Then I stopped. The scene was between two characters who had been secretly in love for years. And their names were suspiciously close to ours. "Emma," I said slowly. "Did you write this?" She smiled. "Maybe." I read the dialogue. The characters confessed everything they had been too afraid to say. One admitted that every time the other person smiled, the entire room seemed brighter. I looked up. Emma was watching me. "That sounds familiar," I said. "Does it? You wrote it." "I did. And the character says, 'I've wanted to kiss you for a long time.'" Her smile disappeared for a moment. "That part is fiction." I swallowed. Right. We were sitting only a few feet apart, but suddenly it felt like the entire classroom had become much smaller. Emma leaned forward and tapped the page. "The professor wants us to make the scene believable. I think we can do that. There's a kiss at the end." I noticed. She laughed softly. "You look terrified." "I'm not terrified. You're gripping the script like it owes you money." I looked down. She was right. I loosened my fingers. "Okay," I admitted. "Maybe I'm a little nervous." Emma stood and walked toward the center of the classroom. "Come on. Let's rehearse." I followed her. We practiced the scene twice. The first time, we both laughed too much. The second time, neither of us laughed. When we reached the final line, Emma stepped closer. The script said her character should whisper, "I wish you had told me sooner." Then she looked directly into my eyes. "And you're supposed to answer, 'I was afraid you didn't feel the same.'" I said the line. Emma stared at me. Then, instead of continuing, she lowered the script. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." Her voice became quieter. "Would you kiss me for real?" My heart seemed to forget how to beat. I stared at her, wondering if this was still rehearsal. "Are you serious?" She nodded. "Yes." "Emma, you don't have to." She took half a step backward. "I just thought," "No," I interrupted. "I want to." She looked surprised. "Really?" I smiled nervously. "Really?" For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Emma stepped closer. Our first kiss was brief, gentle, and nothing like the dramatic movie kiss we had been pretending to rehearse. But when we pulled apart, we both smiled. That, Emma whispered, wasn't in the script. "No, should we add it?" I laughed. "Definitely." The classroom door suddenly opened. Our professor stood there, holding a stack of papers. He looked at us. Then at the script. Then back at us. "Am I interrupting?" Emma calmly picked up the pages. "No, Professor. We were just rehearsing." He raised an eyebrow. "Very convincing rehearsal." After he left, Emma burst out laughing. I laughed too. Then she slipped her hand into mine. "So," she whispered, "same time tomorrow?" I squeezed her hand. "Only if we're rehearsing." She smiled. "Of course." But we both knew the truth. The love scene had started as fiction. The kiss hadn't. The next morning, I arrived at the theater room 20 minutes early. I told myself it was because I wanted to rehearse. That was a lie. I wanted to see Emma. Yesterday's kiss had replayed in my mind all night. It had been simple, almost innocent, but somehow it had changed everything between us. When Emma walked through the door, she was carrying 2 coffees. "One is yours," she said. I smiled. "How did you know what I like?" She looked at me. "I've known for 2 years." That sentence hit harder than it should have. "You've been paying attention?" She laughed. "More than you realize." We sat on the edge of the stage. For several minutes, neither of us mentioned the kiss. Finally, Emma opened the script. "We should rehearse." "Definitely." She turned to page 7. Then she frowned. "Wait. What?" She pointed at a handwritten note in the margin. "It wasn't there yesterday." The note read, "Sometimes the person you're waiting for is already standing beside you." I looked at Emma. "Did you write that?" No, her expression had changed. She turned the page. Another note appeared. "Tell him before the final performance." My stomach tightened. "Who wrote these?" Emma shook her head. "I don't know." We searched through the pages, finding 3 more notes hidden between the scenes. Every message seemed strangely personal. Then we discovered something even stranger. The final page of the script had been replaced. Instead of the ending we had rehearsed, there was a new scene. 2 characters stood on an empty stage. The woman said, "I've loved you since the first day you walked into this room." The man answered, "Why didn't you tell me?" She replied, "Because I was afraid you didn't love me back." Emma slowly lowered the pages. "That wasn't in my version." "Then who added it?" She looked at me. "I think someone knows." "Knows what?" She hesitated. Then she whispered, "How I feel about you." My heart stopped. "You," Emma looked down. "I wrote the original scene because I wanted to tell you something without actually saying it." I stared at her. "What?" "That I liked you." I laughed nervously. "Liked?" She smiled. "Okay. Loved." The room became completely silent. "I thought you were interested in someone else," she continued. "You were always talking to Sarah." "Sarah?" "Yes." I laughed. "Emma, Sarah was my lab partner." Her eyes widened. "So you weren't dating her?" "No, then why didn't you tell me?" "Because I thought you were way out of my league." She covered her face and laughed. "We're idiots." "Definitely." She stood and walked toward me. "But there's one thing I need to know." "What?" She stopped directly in front of me. "Yesterday's kiss, was it only because I asked?" I looked into her eyes. No, her smile slowly returned. "Good." She leaned closer. Then the theater lights suddenly switched on. We both jumped. From the back row came a loud voice. "Finally." We turned. Our entire project group was sitting in the seats, laughing and applauding. Emma's face turned bright red. "You guys were here?" One of our friends grinned. "We've been here for 10 minutes." I looked at Emma. She looked at me. Then we both started laughing. Our professor entered a moment later, completely confused by the applause. "What happened?" Emma held up the script. "We finally found the ending." He smiled. "Excellent. Then make sure you perform it tonight." Emma glanced at me. I squeezed her hand. "We will." And for the first time, the final performance didn't feel like acting. It felt like the beginning of something real. By the time the final performance arrived, I had almost convinced myself that everything would go perfectly. Almost. Backstage, Emma stood beside me in her costume, holding the script against her chest. "You nervous?" she asked. "A little." "Good." I frowned. "Good?" She smiled. "It means you care." The curtain was about to rise when our professor rushed backstage. "We have a problem." Emma and I looked at each other. "What happened?" "The person playing the narrator is sick. We need someone to read the final scene." Before I could say anything, Emma raised her hand. "I can do it." Our professor shook his head. "You're already in the scene." Emma looked at me. Then she smiled. "He can." I stared at her. "Me? You know the script better than anyone." "But I'm acting." "You'll manage." Before I could argue, the stage manager called our names. The curtain opened. The first few minutes went smoothly. We delivered every line exactly as rehearsed. But when we reached the final scene, everything changed. I stepped forward beneath the spotlight. Emma stood across from me. The auditorium became silent. I delivered my line. "I was afraid you didn't feel the same." Emma looked at me. Then she ignored the script. "I did." The audience murmured. That wasn't her line. She continued. "I just didn't know if you felt the same." My heart began pounding. This wasn't acting anymore. I stepped closer. "I've felt it for a long time." Emma's eyes glistened. "Then why did you wait?" "Because I was scared." She smiled. So was I. The audience was completely silent now. Emma reached for my hand. Then she whispered the same question she had asked me days earlier. "Would you kiss me for real?" I smiled. "Yes." We kissed beneath the spotlight. The auditorium erupted in applause. When we separated, Emma laughed softly. The curtain came down. Backstage, everyone surrounded us. Our professor shook his head, smiling. "I've directed college theater for 15 years, he said. That was the most convincing performance I've ever seen." Emma looked at me. "It wasn't a performance." Our professor paused. Then he smiled. I figured. Later that night, the theater was empty. Everyone had gone home. Emma and I sat on the edge of the stage, just like we had the first morning. She rested her head on my shoulder. "So," she said, "what happens now?" I looked at her. "I guess we find out." She smiled. "Together?" I took her hand. "Together." She leaned against me. Then she suddenly laughed. "What?" I just realized something. "What?" "You were my college crush." "Were?" She looked up at me. "No," she smiled. "You're my boyfriend now." I couldn't stop smiling. "That's a pretty good ending." Emma shook her head. "No," she looked toward the empty stage. "It's the beginning." And for once, the love story we had written didn't end when the curtain closed. It had only just begun.